Good morning. Welcome to the TAE Aerospace Ipswich Jets after the 80. Proudly brought to you by the Ipswich Jets Leagues Club, the heart of our community and rugby league supporter, and of course, great supporter of your Ipswich Jets. Today we're on the road. It's 7:30 in the morning, and I'd say I got two men out of bed, but these men were already out of bed before I got them out of bed. Joined by an old friend of our after the 80, Jet number 648, Brett Greinke. Good morning. And also our newest try scorer, which we'll talk about shortly. And we're really lucky as well this morning. Our Hostplus Cup team manager, Stephenson. Greg, welcome. Ipswich local, been with the club for 17 plus years. He's come through our system to be our Hostplus Cup team manager in 2025. So we'll talk a little bit more with Steve-O later. But Steve, good morning.
Good morning.
Brett, let's first of all talk to you about the game. 7 minutes in, played down the left side. Ollie gets it to Jules. Jules cut out pass to Kemba Marlowe. And we score our first try, I think, within 7 minutes. With that, and you know, going on the road and being the first to score, firstly, how important was that? Secondly, having Kemba Marlowe now on our side week in, week out. As I said, the Titans' loss is our game. What's it like having him as a regular presence in your side?
Yeah, it's unreal. Kenny brings a wealth of experience. I mean, he's a Dally M Winger of the Year, captain NRL. He's a very, very senior and experienced, and we're really privileged that he's chosen to sign with us and adds a lot of experience. And his work on the field is really great too. So I think he really laid that foundation with some of his kick returns and early set carries, got us down the end, and ultimately he capitalised on it. So it was a really good start. And I thought the Capras started pretty well also. Like they were trying to challenge us through the middle, but I think we resisted that, held our own, and were rewarded with that try. So it was a good start.
Now we get to 10 minutes in. Paddy Five-Eye does a no-look pass, and you're the recipient of that, and you crash through, which I believe is your first try in Jets colours.
Yep, that's right.
How does that go? How does it feel to be, score your first try in your green and white?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Ollie Pascoe actually called it before the game. So I hadn't scored a try in Cup since 2019, so it's been a minute. I don't know, right? And obviously I missed some time with injury, but front rows, you don't score them that many. You don't score that many anyway. But Paddy and I just identified a bit of a weakness in the defence in terms of where their back rows were positioning themselves, and he's a halfback in a front row's body, so you just got to push up around him. He's so big that he attracts multiple defenders, and he really did the hard work. I just had to stand next to him, catch the ball, and put it down, try not to drop it. So yeah, it was a good second try.
And I think that when I was there, and you cut through everybody else once you scored the try, and went immediately to him to recognise that the service he provided. 15 minutes in, it's all going well. Ollie does a charge down. Sometimes they're 50-50 at best, but as my chairman who I was standing next to said to me, that's his worst play in rugby league, but it's his greatest play when it comes off. Obviously Ollie charged it down. He ran for 70 metres. He's constantly being voted player's player by the rest of our peers, or his peers. What is Ollie like, and again, how special is it to have somebody like him and his character in the team?
Yeah, I'm really privileged. I got to know Ollie when he first kind of came into Cup back at the Tigers. I think it was 2022, that pre-season there, and just very similar to how he is now in terms of super energetic, really fit. He puts himself in those positions. Like, you don't accidentally get that charge down, run 70 metres and score. That's just something he does throughout the game. He does it consistently, and we're really lucky, especially as a middle, because those effort areas really pay off for us. And he really deserves a lot of these players that he's getting. I think he's been knocked out 4 or 5 in a row, or something like that.
Yeah,
it was like so. He adds a lot to our team, and he's got a really bright future ahead of him. I think it would see him progress further in the future. I can't wait to see what it looks like for him.
Stephen, let's go into to talk about. We went into the half-time 24-6 up. You've obviously gone through a lot of rugby league in your time. Having a lead like that, what do you see in the sheds? What is the general feeling? What was the general feeling yesterday when we had a really good lead, with only 40 to go?
It was very calm. Everyone knew their job. They're getting their jobs done. It was just touching up on a couple of things in that dressing room at half time from Pye, and Triggs but as a whole, it was pretty much very calm. It was a very, relaxed sort of aura in that room yesterday.
And then you're looking after a few of our players through that time, and Harley, did his hamstring, as we know. What's your role during that game when there's so much going on? Unfortunately, he has looked after a couple of our boys in sin bins, but we won't talk about that. But other than that, like, what's your role during a game day where, again, we're so dominating? And I think that, as Brett just said, their forwards were coming through. Our defence once again was our determining factor of how well we were defending. So what do you do when you're looking at it from the sideline? What's your support?
Well, I'll be helping the water runners fill up the water bottles, making sure the fellas on the bench got their water, their Powerade. I'm keeping an eye out, helping Dino with injuries, keeping an eye out for that, making sure that if someone's getting up out of a tackle, they're not stumbling, or they haven't, like unfortunately for Harley, his hamstring. Just picking out things, just an extra set of eyes around, that sort of helps out. Sometimes we all get caught up in watching the game, so just having someone else there, better chance of picking up an injury or something that's just not right with our players. And then just smoothing things over with the ground managers and making sure the interchanges are run smoothly, just to make their lives easier. They make your life a bit easier, so yeah.
I mean, I forgot to explain at the start. Obviously, it's early in the morning, but we're here at Rockhampton. We're by our pool. We just had a beautiful breakfast with thanks to Villa Capri. So it's quite nice to be out on the road. And for you, what's different? Like, how do you approach your job differently when you've got a team on the road as opposed to a team that just goes across the road to North Ipswich Reserve?
Well, this being my first year as manager and my first flight trip, it was pretty daunting through the week, making sure everything's right, the changes to the flights, and making sure that Nicole in the office was across everything that was happening in the team so that we could have a very smooth sort of transition. And once we had everyone booked on the flight yesterday, it was like, yes, we've done this. So, but it was just a lot of just making sure things are done right from the beginning. It sort of, just took up a lot of time during the week. That sort of stresses you out a little bit. But we're here, we got the dub.
And I must ask, are we going home with the same number of players and staff that we came with? I guess that's the most important. Well, after last night, we'll see you. We've got the bus, mate, but hopefully 26 or 27 or whatever number it is. But got every faith in you. Brett, let's go back to you. Let's talk about the second half. Ollie takes on the line. Ryan Foran, takes a ball, gives it to our new man Corey Ross. He scores in the corner. Corey's new this week. He's made a debut, and he's made a try on debut, which is even more fantastic. But what do you want to, or what can you tell us about the man Corey Ross, coming from New South Wales Rugby League? I know you're probably still learning a little bit about him, but what do you know about him? Maybe if not so much as a person, as a player.
Yeah, it's great signing. Firstly, from Ty and Triggs, it's a real strength of theirs in terms of roster management and identifying players that can add value to our team. And Rossi's someone who really does that. He had a great game yesterday. Comes from us from New South Wales. Spent some time. I know he did some work with the NRL Roosters pre-season training trial, and then spent some time in Cup playing down there at New South Wales Cup for the Roosters. So he's quite young. I think he's the youngest in the team today. I think him, Dion, and Mussy probably our three youngest that we've taken away. But we went really well. We had a really unique game plan this week. So to step in and to be your first week and figure that out, and he had a big role to play in that. Thought he executed it well and played a role in getting that win. So it's really good outing by him.
So we get to the end of the game. We win 40-20. As you said, it's a great win. The last kick of the game was from our halfback Dion Diapa, and caps off again. It seems just so easy for him to do the job that he does. I mean, the first kick was from the sideline. Last week probably a little bit easier, but get it over. Again, to have that consistency from a halfback, as somebody of Dion's talent, and not just talent, as a genuinely nice guy. What's it like playing alongside Dion?
Yeah, great. He's Blakey and I are the co-captains and Ollie's the vice, but when we're out there, Dion's really got the keys. He's the man leading us around. He's calling the shots and we fall into line, and he does that really well. He knows exactly how to execute the game plan, and he's a really strong communicator. So I feel really safe when I'm out there. Defensively as well, like on both sides of the ball, he produces really great quality, and he's a big reason why we won last night in terms of just getting us to where we needed to get to. And I thought he was great with the boot as well, which always helps. So yeah, really lucky to have him. He's obviously an NRL quality player, and I think with him and Jules as our halves, as a middle, you feel really confident front loading your energy because you just have to get to those spots, lay the platform. You don't have to do too many things too tricky, and you just know that they're going to execute off the back of it. So it's really good to have.
And how well? I mean, look, as I said, we got the win, and again a really decisive win, which was great for Ty to get that monkey off his back of last week's 1 point loss, which we've heard about every minute since last week's game. So it's good for him to have something else to focus on now. But coming to Rockhampton and into Yeppoon, how important is regional football? Like, I mean, you've played a lot of football. To see that community come out, support the game, give that kind of environment. It's completely different, but I mean, the field was great, the atmosphere was fantastic, the line to the canteen was kilometres long. How important is that regional football, and how much do you enjoy it?
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, it's religion up here, eh? Like it's, I really appreciate Rockhampton and particularly Yeppoon looking after us and the Seagulls. They did a great job. The field was outstanding, like you said, and the hospitality was really great. So, yeah, I've been really blessed at this level to be able to play at different regions, and then you add in country rounds as well. It's a really great initiative getting out to some of these regional towns and communities, and I mean, Yeppoon and Rockhampton per capita, how many quality NRL players have come out of here is pretty insane. So they obviously love their footy up here and they're doing something right, and it was really good to get the 2 points up here.
Excellent. Steve, let's talk to you, and as we've introduced you as Hostplus Cup team manager, it sounds like a very simple role in those 3 words, but obviously there's a lot to it. So maybe give everybody an insight into what your role actually entails through a week and into game day.
Well, it's pretty much the coach's assistant. You're taking most of the admin stuff, the stuff that he doesn't have to worry about, away from him, so he can just concentrate on the coaching. He sorts out a team list. I make sure that gets submitted, that's going through, that the players are able to be selected. Like when you have HIAs, you can't select them, so just conveying that back and forth with, especially with the Titans when they've got players that we think we may get, then they've had a HIA that week, so we're sort of on top of that also. Setting up the jerseys for that weekend. Usually that's a Thursday night, Friday night thing, having that all set, ready to go because we know who we've got playing, and just pretty much just doing the logistics of the thing for the team, so then he can just concentrate on coaching.
Okay. Now, we covered at the start, you've been involved the club since about 2008 in various capacities, and then your wife's been involved in the canteen. You've held a position within our rep guys. So tell us a little bit, fill in some of those gaps, take us through your journey through rugby league.
Well, in 2008, the wife was asked by the CEO then, Brad Wylens, to help out in the canteen. She ended up running the canteen from 2008 to 2012. In 2012, I sort of helped, all those years I was helping her out also, and then I was helping out with like a rouseabout on game day in 2012. Then we sort of went away from the club for a while. Young fella started playing, it must have been around 17, coming through the junior ranks, and in 2020 I came on board with the under-20s. Unfortunately, we only had one game that year because of COVID, and then the next few years I was with the boys as their head trainer. Crossy's first year, he had a staff member pull out after the season finished, so I rolled into that role for that season cup as the yellow shirt. And working with Ty last year with the I saw something very special that he has and what he gets out of players. Like, our squad wasn't the greatest on paper. We made it to a semi-final, we rattled some cages, and one of the semi-final teams, we put them to the sword and very much dominated them in the game. So it was very, very fitting, and seeing what he could do there. And then when he came up to Cup, he dragged me along with him for the ride.
Yeah, and I think that your name's held, in such high regard for, again, your commitment to the club and everything you do. With your, I guess, holding the players to account as much as this coaching staff and making sure that, the right culture is set and again, accountability. So, what do you do? How do you do your bit to ensure that sustains that culture within the team?
I don't really have to do too much. Like, the leadership group are really good, so if we have any concerns with anything, just sort of we hit up one of the captains or someone in that leadership group, and that sort of filters back to the players. But as a whole, everyone we don't have to sort of remind anyone about anything. Everyone's sort of on top of it. With like they were all probably one of the most respectful bunch of lads that I've had to deal with. So it makes the job easy and very enjoyable.
So for you, beyond wins and losses, what does success look like? If you get to the end of this year, obviously we want to be playing September's football and we want to play October football, but beyond that, what does success look like as a team manager, for 2025?
Well, that's a good question. I've never really thought of it. As an old sports trainer, it's always my wins and losses was not having an injury. Yeah, we may have lost a game, but if we got out of it injury-free, that's a win. But yeah, as a manager, I suppose, as long as everyone's happy, they're enjoying the football, and we haven't had any problems getting to the game and from the game, that's probably a win for me then. At the end of the day, the rest of it's out of my control. The coaching staff, the rest of the coaching staff sorts the team, the players sort the game. If it doesn't go to the plan, I've put the jerseys out for them, I've got all the boys in their jerseys, that's pretty much my job done.
Okay. So, well, as I said, our biggest challenge will be when we go on the bus in about an hour's time. Then we'll see how good you are doing your job, mate. All right, now look, one of the great things about having you here is that we give a bit of an insight. You get a really good overview of all players that come into our senior squad. Probably a bit unfair to ask our co-captain give an insight, so I'll come to you instead. Let's go through some of the players you would pick on these areas. So who's the most disciplined that you've come across?
Yeah, Brett Greinke, because the injuries that he's had and the little niggling ones that he does do, he's making sure that he's getting his recovery, he's on top of all that, doing everything he can to make sure that he can get back onto the paddock and play as best that he can, and it worked out this week for you, didn't it? Yeah, did that. Got a meat pie.
Now, just so you know, Brett Greinke cannot be the answer to every one of these questions.
No, it won't be.
Otherwise, it's going to be quite anonymous for people. But okay. However, the second one is probably puts this man at the heart of this one. But who's the harder to see?
Blake. He wears it on his sleeve. He's so passionate. He went away for that little bit, but the other week he had his 100th cup game, and he was saying that he was always coming home. This is home for him, so he's the team. Yes.
It's funny, when we talk to our supporters and our corporates and everybody else, it's funny, Blake Lanahan is kind of the man that almost, epitomises what Ipswich Jets are about.
Yes.
And everybody knows him and associates him with the club, regardless of the fact that even that time he spent away was almost kind of by the by. He was, Ipswich Junior coming up through and always recognises that. So, a good pick. You've picked it. Obviously, we've got a leadership group, and
yep.
those guys are out there. But who in the group is a natural leader, but out of sight? Who is it that also gets people going that isn't necessarily a co-captain or in that leadership group?
Yesterday would have been Paddy Vai. He led from the front. Some of the hits that he was putting on, just other players were playing far better than they had in some games. That it was an extremely he lifted everyone up to a higher level yesterday with his energy. And boy, did he have some energy!
Yeah, he did, for sure. As a sim bin attested.
Well, yeah, the energy's probably went a little too far there.
Joker, who's a joker in the pack?
Oh, they're all jokers.
Who'll be your number one go-to if you had to pick one?
I'll go out of left field here. The head trainer.
Okay.
Dino.
I love it. He's sitting there serious through the window watching TV, but he doesn't look very serious, very joking at the moment. But yeah, okay. But I guess what a kind of a bit of a I mean, again, not your natural pick, but so why Dino?
He's a young man at heart,
Yeah.
and he gets around the boys really well. Little jokes that he has with them all, he's pretty much got a bit of a joke to suit every one of those players, and the way he sort of just gets around them. It's good as him and Ollie Pascoe sort of get along quite well with their little taunts and whatnot at each other.
Who in the group has surprised you the most? Somebody that maybe you didn't even know who or what they were and what they were about, and they're not necessarily even about talent, but just who's come into the group that you've been surprised about?
Nick Halileo, new into the team, did the pre-season quite well, but his games, every game he's getting better. He's going to be a good forward for us going into the next couple of seasons. Hopefully he sticks around. But yeah, I've been quite surprised with him.
Okay. Two more. Who doesn't listen? No matter how many times you tend to be somewhere, do this, pack that, change here, go there. Who doesn't listen the most?
They're all pretty good. I don't think there's one of them that I've had to sort of maybe Ollie, but that's at the end of training and trying to him or Dion. When you're trying to finish up a training, like, come on, let's hurry up, let's finish up, I want to go home. But that's probably about it.
That's why the man can kick 2 field goals in a row, probably.
He practices after every session, so it's good. I'm glad he's got keys to the lights now.
Last one. Who's always late? Who's the person that you're looking at your watch? The last one on the bus. The last one, to training.
Everyone seems to be before time. No, that one's a bit of a blank. No one's sort of jumping out at me, that one.
So everybody listens and everybody's always on time. Steve, you've got the most immaculate group of men that we've ever brought together.
Yeah.
Well, at the moment we've still got 35 minutes to the bus goes. We've got about 5 of them in there at the moment, so that's good. Look, that's great. Craig Stephenson, thank you. Brett Greinke, thank you very much. That's a wrap up of our TAE Aerospace Ipswich Jets. After the 18 brought to you by the Ipswich Jets Leagues Club. Next game next week, 24th of May, we're at the Dolphins. Please remember to like, share and subscribe. Until next time, thanks for joining us at the Villa Capri in Rockhampton.